everyone. Thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. We have notes again today, so we're looking down and looking at things. So deal with it. Make sure you check out our website. I don't plug this near enough. Rachel does a lot of hard work writing and making sure it looks pretty, and that's www.accesshockeymi.com, which is the name of everything that we have.
It's true. It's true. And the website looks sick. I don't think hockey people like pretty.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's sick.
It's sick.
It's killer. It's great. It's a very safe killer. Anyways, recently we've actually posted more videos in last week than we have sequentially in a while.
Yeah.
So we posted a goalie video based on the Prospects tournament that we had just concluded seeing. So make sure you go check that video out. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. We love having a community of people that we can talk to, because no one else will listen to us.
Our family stopped listening years ago.
They don't want to hear any more of it, so we talk to you guys.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about pretty much wrapping up the Prospects tournament of our standouts. We're going to talk about guys to look forward to, and we're also going to recap dream versus reality type opinions of some of the guys that we saw in the Prospects tournament.
We're really popping holes in everyone's dreams these last
few weeks. I guess so. Maybe not. I think we're realistic. Yeah. So we're just going to talk about that today, and there's going to be 4 guys, and I'll put them up on the screen for you for the standouts that we had. So let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, we're starting with me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, I just did a lot of talking, so
it's true.
I need to breathe a little bit.
Just let them in, just enjoy.
Zen. I don't know what that is.
Something calming, I guess. So Pasquale Zito, he was one of the ones that I believe, had mentioned even last year at the tournament, because he was recently, I want to say it was a 2021 draft. Just a phenomenal player. Like that kid, he's a little bottle rocket. He gets out there and he just puts his head down and does the work. This year was no different. What really impressed me with him is how consistent he has been from year to year. Like last year he played like he's done it every single year, and it's just normal operations. This year he came out, same mentality, very professional, very efficient. He carries himself really well, and that's something we always notice because we see them off the ice too, and I think that speaks a lot to how their game is on the ice. Mm-hmm. But with him, he is a center, so that's a coveted spot in the Detroit organization, especially going forward. He's a little spitfire, and he's a high producer too. So this tournament, he didn't have a ton of points, but during his regular season, so he's with the OHL, I believe he's going to be with the Niagara Ice Dogs this coming season. He's a big producer, big player there, and I want to say he's in a leadership role as well there, and I just recently wrote about him on the website, but he is just an absolutely phenomenal kid, and I really liked just his tenacity overall.
Yeah, and I completely agree. So when we talk about these, we're going to go one after the other, so what she says I agree with.
Yeah.
And not like you needed to hear that, but
ditto.
I would think one of the reasons Zito didn't get maybe as much production as he probably would initially is that there are other guys that are on the team currently that are probably a little more developed than he is right now. One of those being Cross Hannes, which we talked about in, I think, a couple videos ago before we went to the Prospects tournament. We talked about him last year. We talked about him right after he got drafted, because this kid is hard not to watch. He's hard not to notice on the ice. He's very energetic. He was on the special teams as well, and so we had a lot of expectation for him. And that's great, because I think that'll be a role that is built on both power play and penalty kill. It's very important. Coveted spots as far as like if you can get a good PK guy out there, you're going to want it, and I think he'll be that type of guy.
The team needs that dependability.
Yeah, he looks for a shot, but he's also a good playmaker. So he's not he's smart with how he makes the play and smart with how he handles the puck, and I really appreciate that. He's a very hard-working forward, and that was shown. I don't know fully how many points he had in the tournament, but every time he was on the ice, he was making a big difference, whether it was just being a good body out there, making a good decision, keeping possession of the puck, any number of things that you look for in a good player. He comprises all of that, and at such a, I would say that he's developing, not quickly, but I would say on schedule, and I think that that's great to see. He reminds me,
maybe?
Yeah, he reminds me of a former Grand Rapids Griffins player, Turner Elson, who we lost in the offseason, which is very sad, but I think that he has a lot of the same qualities of Elson, and Elson was always a hard worker, would, sell his soul for points, and so it's very important in the game of hockey. So Cross Hannes is another guy to that stood out to us.
Yeah, and then we've talked about this next kid several times.
Yes.
You're probably getting annoyed with it, but Kirill Tuchayev, he is one that
we're trying to drill it in your head so
like,
you remember.
watch these guys. Like, everyone loved him after the first Prospects tournament because he had so many points. He was so fiery and so energetic, and he literally, he'll go anywhere the puck is. He wants the puck, and he doesn't care who you are.
It's fun to watch him.
It's hilarious. It's kind of like if you throw a stick and a dog goes at it.
I think it's hard for him probably not to like play defense
every
as well.
role where he's like, oh, the puck's there, the puck's there, the puck's there. He's really good at staying in his, doing his position.
Yeah.
But last year people fell in love with him. He got injured, yada yada yada. This year it's a non-issue. From what we saw, his confidence I think has exceeded what it was prior to injury, and I don't think it's going to be a problem for him in Grand Rapids. I think he's going to be. From what we've seen, he's poised to have a really big season this season. He was off to a good start last year. But what I really like about him is, again, that tenacity. And it's something that's similar with all these guys. They have the speed. They have the skill. They're on the smaller side of things, typically, 6'1" or lower, which is, smaller.
Small. That's me. I mean, that's huge. But.
Right. Like, Kirill, I think, is my size.
Like, I get it. Edvinsson and Soderblom are tall, but, like, when we're by the glass, all of them are
oh, my
tall.
goodness.
I don't know. They're all huge to me.
You're looking up like this the whole time.
Yeah.
But with Kirill, I think the coolest thing about him is just his vivacity. He's 110% the entire game.
Yeah.
His fuse is so long, and it doesn't seem like he ever burns out, and he's just ready for the next shift. There's actually a few times he thought it was his shift. He just got back and would go back out, and the coach had to call him back in, like, no, it's not your turn yet.
Or like we got a penalty, and he didn't. Maybe that's something that he needs to work on.
Right.
Paying more attention.
We don't need too many men on the ice, so let's not get too excited.
We did get one penalty for that. I don't think it's his fault.
No, it wasn't his fault, but he was also on the special teams. All of these kids have been on the special team circumstances on the Prospects tournament, so that gives you a good glimpse of what they're trying to prepare them for.
Yeah.
And he did really well. I believe he was partnered with Soderblom for some of that too, which is a hilarious.
But they played well together.
They played really well together.
I like seeing them
match,
together. Yeah.
But he's one that I think it bears repeating, even though we have a few times. Like, just don't overlook this.
Yeah,
kid.
don't forget about him because he might have even been ready early, like later last year to start playing. But if it's toward the end of the season, you're not making the playoffs, and it was kind of clear toward the end of the season the Griffins weren't going to be able to make it.
Right.
So don't push the guy who's trying to get over an injury back into play prematurely. So if that might have happened, he's probably just been like rearing to go for a while.
Again, like a dog, just waiting for the owner to come home. He's just ready.
Yeah.
He's cuter than a dog, I guess. But
So the last that we want to talk about today would be someone we also talked about before Prospects tournament started, and that would be Emil Viro. I can't say enough about this guy, how good he is at his position, and I just think he's going to be so good in the coming season. He is. It shows him on the Grand Rapids Griffins roster, so I'm very excited to see him grow in his position. He is a defenseman. He is a draftee. Something that I've noticed about Viro, apart from other things, is how thoughtful he is with playmaking and with the puck. He doesn't waste an opportunity. So it's different than being opportunistic, where you get the puck and you immediately give it away or you immediately try to shoot it. He doesn't waste the opportunity. When he has the puck, he's very thoughtful with what he does with it, and that's very important for a defenseman, first of all.
Right.
Important just as a good player all around, so that was something. And he's also very good at board work, which is something Rachel and I watch a lot, and it's very evident when a guy is good at board work because half the time, half the time, a lot of the time you're stuck up against the board, and if you lose it against the boards, you've lost possession, so it's very important. He's also good at making good of a bad situation. So say he loses the puck, say he makes a bad play, he fights to get that back. He fights to, go in front of the goalie, protect the goalie, that kind of thing. So I really like his, his instinct is I think what I would say that I liked a lot about him. And he also is on special teams. So again, another guy that we can hopefully look forward to seeing on special teams. And I don't know, I have a lot of hope for Viro, and I think that he is developing at a very good pace, very good rate.
I would say out of all of them, I was the most happy with
every
what
time
we
he was
saw.
on the ice. We were like, "There's Viro again. He's still doing great work." He scored. I can't remember how many games he scored in, but I was watching one. The game that we missed, I was watching online at work.
Sorry, boss.
And they just weren't talking about him in the broadcast, and then he scored, and I was like, "See, like, come on!"
I've been thinking about it this entire time.
It might have been a deflection. I can't remember at this point, but he just he knows what to do with the puck, and
he is
that's good.
Stronger than what I anticipated too. Because a lot of especially with these guys that are international, this is our first time seeing him live. And not the other ones so much, but there's a lot of them. It's our first time seeing him live. So you go off of footage and then you see it in person. You're like, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. He's a lot stronger than what I thought he was.
Yeah.
So that was along the boards. That was really impressive.
And again, if you just look at stats, you could be like, oh, he's small. And we do this all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, he's small. He should be bigger. But then you see how they use their body weight. And yeah, they're going to get more body weight and they're going to get better at using their body. But to see it in person, you can actually see, oh, yeah, he is good at defending that. He is, he's good at figuring out where to put himself. So the next, we do want to put a notable mention, an honorable mention for Seth Barton in there as well. He's been developing for a few seasons now. I believe he was drafted in 2019.
I think it was 19.
2019 or 2020. I will fix it.
If we're wrong, there'll be a bubble.
I will fix it. But he has struggled with injury. If he can stay healthy, I was very impressed and happy to see him out on the ice for the Prospects tournament. He's at the training camp right now with the Red Wings. And I think that he has a good future ahead of him if he can stay healthy.
Right.
I think that he has a lot to build on as well.
Right.
So just the next portion of this video we want to talk about is looking past just this season. So all these guys we assume we're going to see in Grand Rapids or in some version of Grand Rapids, whether Toledo or, wherever they end up going. We want to look past this season into maybe guys we forgot we drafted, which I'm guilty of these two at least. I knew about one of them, but the other guy, we came home and we're like, he was a draft.
Oh my goodness. I failed.
We're so stupid.
All these years. I'm so sorry.
So let's start with your standout for the guys that we forgot we drafted.
So the guys that we forgot we drafted, Amadeus Lombardi. Everyone just goofed about his name when he was first drafted, and I'm like, okay, big deal. The kid's a big deal. He played really well.
It was good.
So he seemed like he was everywhere, and I kept seeing Lombardi.
Yeah, and I thought he was an invitee, and I was like, man, that kid's making a name.
I know. We had these total dunce moments, and I was like, who is this kid? Where did he come? Duh, we drafted him.
So even we can do it.
Yeah.
We don't know everything.
We're mostly perfect, but sometimes we fail. But with Lombardi, what I really liked about him, and it was described in scouting reports and stuff too, is that he chases the puck.
Yeah.
Another one of those that are really, really vivacious players. And he, again, is a lot like Zito, and a lot like, I'm not going to say the guy that you were going to say. I almost slipped up, Scooby. But I just really like his fire and his passion. And he's a big point producer as well. So he's coming out of the OHL. He was playing with Flint last season. He'll play with them again this season. So he's kind of in those beginning phases. But once that OHL contract runs out, I think it's a very good chance that he's going to get a Grand Rapids, an ELC, because especially if this is consistent and he plays like this regularly.
Well, we're always looking for more guys.
Exactly.
Bring him up.
Yeah, and I just loved his passion. He played really well, and he handled the puck really well,
He always seemed to be in the right place at the right time, making a good move, and he seems very very smart and very instinctive as well.
He gets up really quick too. I remember I can't remember who hit him or what team we were playing. It may have been St. Louis, but someone just nailed him, and he's boink,
there was a couple of hits on Kirill too, where he just got up like that too.
Yeah.
Like yes,
little guys.
That's good. So the guy that I remembered that we had drafted this guy, but he is someone that I'd like to watch in the coming season. So looking past this season into the future would be Oscar Plandowski, who is going to be with the QMJHL with Drummondville in the next season, and I believe he was with Charlottesville Rangers in the QMJHL last year.
Some Canadian team.
Yeah, he's getting good experience in the Q. That's a great place to play, and I think that that's where his skill level is right now. So it's good that he can be there. He's a defenseman. We drafted him in 2021, and he's 19 right now. So we logically would be looking at seeing him in the next couple of years at least. Yeah. He's a very good skater, and he's good with the puck, which as a defenseman is very important if you can back skate. Very important if you can keep possession. And every time he was out there, he made good decisions. I would say that it's very clear for these two guys they do need some more development. Right. So these are just guys we want to make sure we're having our eye on in the future and that we can keep up with where they're going.
Kind of accountability for us too. We always tell you not to sleep on certain guys, but then we're guilty of it too.
Yeah, then we get sucked into the Vero and the all the other guys that we talk about all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are just they're doing the work. And eventually they're going to come to the forefront. We don't want to be guilty
just like the guys we're talking about now, who have to do the work to then get to the spotlight. Exactly. I guess. So the last segment we want to do is dream versus reality, which is kind of, we would say, fan dream versus our perceived realities, I guess, what I would put it at. And just to stick it out there, we expect Edvinsson, Soderblom, and Johansson to start in Grand Rapids after preseason. That's kind of where, in my not professional eyes, I see where they would be most beneficial for their play and development would be to be in Grand Rapids and for playtime.
Yep. Well, and like Janae said in the last video too, is that a lot of these players will get put where they can get the ice and the playtime.
They should.
In preseason, it's going to be great for them to kind of get that taste of the NHL. However, it's known that preseason, you're not going against the normal NHL
Not usually,
teams.
no.
You're going against their prospects or their AHL dudes or whatever.
Sometimes they throw a Crosby in there.
Yeah, just to really humble you super quick. Yeah, right?
Just because he needs some,
He's got to warm up before his workout or something, but that's kind of a known fact. So it's not to say we're going to discredit it. Preseason is very important for these boys, especially.
And it's fun.
I think with the atmosphere around it too. I think it could be intimidating for them, so to kind of mentally get used to it. But it is realistic to say that they will be in Grand Rapids because that is where they're going to get 20 plus minutes a night, and that's what they need in order to kind of get their skill level, which is amazing, to the pace that it needs to be.
Yeah. And I would say, just as kind of like a overarching idea, if you haven't noticed, Rachel and I gravitate toward the guys who have an energetic, chippy kind of play style. I always notice those ones on the ice. I would say that Edvinsson and Johansson share a similar play style in the way that they are, people say poised, which I can sometimes see as maybe not tenacious enough. I think Johansson has kind of a leg up on Edvinsson in that regard, but I think Edvinsson, he plays not usually with a sense of urgency, is I guess what I would say.
He's very calm.
He's very
and collected.
patient, yes. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those balances that he's got to strike. So I'd like to see him get a little more vivacious, I guess, is what I would say. But then again, it worked for Lindstrom, and he did really well.
Yeah, I mean, he's not doing too bad.
No, he's doing well, but but that's, I think, why we gravitate toward those other players.
And it's not knocking on them either.
No.
It's just
their play style.
Realistically, again, dream versus reality. The dream, it'd be sick if they could all just go right to the NHL and totally tear it up. Yeah. Wonderful. But bringing it back down to earth, these boys have to adjust to the speed and the pace in various ways. Especially, I think, with Johansson, too. He is smaller, he's leaner, he's very fast, but I think his particular style is prone to injury. So trying to figure out how to maneuver his body where he's not sacrificing it to the point of being a detriment.
Basically, playing the AHL skill level and playing with those guys I think it would only help all of those guys. So, and again, not to knock them, I just think that would be where they're going to be most benefited. Benefited, that's a word, So that's kind of in a nutshell the Prospects tournament. Remember last week or recently we talked about the goalies, so make sure you look at that. Let us know what you think in the comments about the Prospects tournament, if you were able to catch it at all. Maybe you were watching other teams. Yeah, if you've been watching training camp, or in the next video we're going to cover that a little bit more and look at preseason with the Red Wings and season with the Griffins and all that jazz. So let us know again in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.